Alrighty, welcome back. So this video is going to be about the Tohatsu 20 and all the motors that are similar to it. Was it the 9.9 and the 15? In regards to the other video that I did where we did the warm flush, which is hooking up the hose up to here and just idling the motor. I like to do that because I run it in salt water, so I really want to open up the thermostat and make sure that everything's really, the salt's out of there as best possible. So, I had some concerns about that because it wasn't in the manual, and I contacted Tohatsu and got to one of their service engineers, and he told me it's fine to do it as long as you're just idling. And then it seemed like some people on the channel, some of the feedback was saying it'll burn up the impeller doing that. So I went back to Tohatsu again with some emails and some calls, and the people I reached said that, yeah, it's fine as long as you're idling. So you don't want to rev up the motor, but as long as you're idling, it's fine. And then, I just kind of looked at it myself and was thinking about it. And then when you got the hose hooked up, where the intake grating is here, where it, the water comes up into the water pump. When you've got the hose hooked up, there's a water flowing out here, which tells me, at least it seems so, that water should be going through the impeller. Even if it's going backwards, it's low speed idle. It's not going to force the little fins to flip or anything. So, my opinion is that it's fine, but the only way we're really going to know is by taking this thing apart and seeing what the impeller looks like. It's been well over a year, and I've done this so many times, so I think it should be a good test. If we take this thing out and the impeller looks good, then guess what? It's cool. If it looks bad, then fine, I'm wrong and Tohatsu's wrong and I won't do it anymore. So let's see what's going on. This isn't going to be a video about how to do this. I'm just going to take it apart, show you guys what it looks like, and then we'll just go from there. So be back when it's apart. Okay, so I changed my mind on this. This is really so easy to change a water pump. I guess I might as well just show the basic steps of how to do it. So all you need to do is put the shifter in neutral and come down here to your shift linkage, and you're going to see there's a jam nut and then your other sleeve. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to basically loosen this jam nut so you can just spin this sleeve off. Okay, now once you do that, this is connected to your shifter, this is connected to the transmission. So this is really just what links the two together. So I've got it neutral right now, so it's really easy to get back into position when I put it back together. And then you've got 4 bolts holding it on, 2 on each side down here. And these are 10 millimeter. So you do this, take that loose, and then remove these, and then it'll just slide down. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so all the screws are out now, 4 bolts, and the shifter is disconnected. So all you gotta do is just sort of wiggle this a little bit and pull down. And here it comes. And that's it. This pops right off. Okay. All right, your next step is to put it in something where you can work on it. So take the lower, what I do is I put it into my vise, just between a couple pieces of wood, and the wood will protect the bottom of the skeg where it's, I got that little extra rounded piece. It'll just sort of absorb into the wood. You don't really tighten it very hard at all, just enough to hold it in place so you can work on it on your bench. And then the next step is come to your water pump, and you're going to see these 4 bolts. And all you need to do is take these off, and then the water pump will slide off. The housing will slide off. These are 10 millimeters, so I'm going to go ahead and take these off, and then we'll slide this thing off and see what the impeller looks like. All right, so all the bolts are out. So next step is just to slide this off. All right, there we go. So there's the stainless steel housing that actually mounts within the plastic housing. Slide that up over the top. Right here. All right, so the impeller is inside this. Now be careful when you pull it up because there is a alignment key. So I just don't want to lose that. All right, so there's the key. All right, now I'll just slide this up over the top. Bring it over here. And pop it out of here and see what it looks like. Be right back. All right, so I popped it out, and here's what it looks like. You know, it's taking a little bit of a set. This is normal. But what we're looking for is cracks. We're looking for heat, damage, places where it might look like it's been overheated. You know, areas of stress. You know, and what I'm seeing so far is that this is looking pretty darn good. I mean, it's still very flexible. I mean, it's only, you know, it's over a year old, but plenty of use. You know, it's not hard at all. Honestly, I could keep running this. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Let's see if I can get some better views of the detail. Just trying to use my phone here. Yeah, it's pretty shiny. There's no cracking that I see in here at all. It looks very good. It's very pliable. It feels really good. Like I said, I mean, I have no problem running this a lot longer, although I like to change them out on a yearly basis anyway. I mean, it's just part of my maintenance. It's so easy to do. You're not going to hurt anything. You know, you might just save yourself a headache if you get one where you get some breakage or something, you know, manufacturing defect. But you know what? This thing looks fine. So I'm going to call BS on all the people that say that it overheats and ruins your impeller, at least on this motor. Maybe it does on your motor or some other brand. I don't know. I don't have one, but on this one, it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with this at all. You know, I'm gonna take it out in the sunlight and look at it even closer and see if there's something I see, but I mean, from what I'm seeing, it looks great. I'm gonna put a new one in here and call it good and rock and roll. So, let's see. All right, so I figure we'll look at it one more time out here in the sun together. And I think it's focusing. I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with this at all. There's no cracks, no damage, nothing that would indicate heat whatsoever. It looks good. It looks really good. I'm happy. So something else I want to do is I'm going to hook the hose up to the motor, and the shaft that comes down the water tube, I want to see water spraying out of that tube because that's where it goes directly into here, just to see how much is coming through there, out of curiosity, and I'll show you guys. So I'll be back. Okay, before I do the water on the motor, I wanted to show the inside of this housing and just show how nice it is. I mean, it's flawless. Looks like brand new. So there's nothing to worry about here. There's no signs of heat here either. It looks fine. So, okay. All right, so I think I'm gonna put this back together before I go out and do the water thing, since I'm already in the shop in here. So what you wanna do is take your key and just put it back in. All right, and grab your new impeller. Here's the part number, by the way. Here's a new one. Grab your new impeller. It can go either way, this way or this way, it's identical. And just slide it down over the top. Now what you're gonna wanna do is line up that key to get it with a keyway. Just like that. There we go. All right, now so the old one, this is gonna give you kind of a guide, but the way this turns is clockwise. So inside the housing, it's going to turn like this. So you can tell that it shouldn't look like that. You know, it should look like this. So it's going to turn clockwise from the top. And it'll take this like a set of the old one. Okay. So what you do next is you take your stainless steel housing and you slide this down over the top, like so. Down to your impeller, and then you're going to take, well, I'm doing my phone, so I really can't do it and show you, but what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put a little bit of lubrication on here. I'm not going to use grease or anything. You know, some people freak out about using grease that's going to get out in the water. Usually I use just some dish soap or something, you know, something slippery. So dish soap is biodegradable, I believe. And just put it on here. And I'm going to hold this with one hand, and with the other hand I'm going to turn the drive shaft since it's in neutral, and then just push this down as the impeller is turning. It's going to set inside, and it's going to look like this. And then once I do that, I can just slide the plastic cover on top. Now there's just 2 teeth, and this lines up with some indentations on the inside of the plastic housing. You can see them right there. So basically, you'll just, once you get this on, you'll put this over to the one side, and then kind of just fiddle with it until you get in the right position to where the housing will go in, and those little keys will get into the holes where they go, and then bolt it back together. All right, so I'm gonna do that. All right, so that's on. And, you know, I wish I had something to hold the camera, but I don't. It's so easy to do. I mean, you hold this stainless steel housing right on top of the impeller. And then, like say with my right hand here, I'm going to turn this shaft clockwise. And then at the same time, I'm going to use my left hand and push down on this. And it just pops right on. So I just took dish soap and kind of took it on my fingers and got everything all soaked with the dish soap on top of the impeller, around the impeller, inside the housing. And it just pops right on. I mean, it's really effortless. So don't be afraid of doing that. It's so easy. And you'll see the first time you do it, oh, that's easy. Some of my friends say, that's not the easiest thing. Yeah, it's pretty easy. So anyway, all right, I'll be back. All right, so I've got the hose hooked up. The motor's not running right now, but I've got the hose hooked up, and then here you can see water coming right out of that shaft, which is the exit from the water pump. But so obviously with the hose on, water is coming straight into that water pump. All right, just wanted to show that. I'm gonna finish putting this thing back together. Fire it up. All right, so I just got this back together, ran it for a little while. Everything looks good. A couple things I'll mention. The drive shaft, you have a spline on the end of it. You're gonna want to put some really good marine grease on there, like 2,4-C or something equivalent. You know, just around the splines, not on top, but the sides. If you put it on top, you might have a hard time getting the shaft back in, so just put it on the sides. On all the bolts that I put back in, I always put a little bit of an anti-seize, a copper type, or whatever you have on hand, just on the end of the fret, on the end of the threads, just to make sure you're not going to ever have any seizing or due to corrosion or anything like that. It just makes them come out a lot easier the next time you do it. And here's the old one. You know, it looks good. So, you know, at least I'm confident for this motor, or this series of engines, that doing this is just fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, we've proven that with the hose on there, water is coming down through there. It's going basically backwards through the pump and coming out where it usually comes in. But at idle, it's not a big deal. You're not going to cause any problems. And there's obviously been no heating, no damage whatsoever. Now, is that the same on other brands and other engines? I don't know, you know, but for this one, I'd say, yeah, you're good to go. And, you know, check this yourself too. So if you decide to use this method, the warm flush method with the hose, with your engine idling, you know, when you change your impeller, sort of do the same thing. Take a look at it, see what you got. If it looks good like this, then probably your system's working just fine. If you're seeing problems, maybe not, you know. And I would think that'd be true of basically any style outboard, you know. And to me, it's like, if you're going to put that thing on there, it would seem odd to me to not have a passage coming back down to cool the water pump. I mean, there's just people out there that, you know, aren't very informed, don't do their research, and they see it on there, stick it on there, and think that's how they're going to clean their motor. You know, these days, lawsuits and stuff like that, I mean, warranties, you know, I think it'd be a nightmare. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of interesting to kind of do the same thing on some other brands and really take a look at it and see, is there a difference, or did Tohatsu just get it really right? You know, I don't know. Anyway, there we have it. Thanks for watching. I hope this answers some questions, and let me know what you think in the comments. Take care. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.